Hello everyone, I'm Anthony Giarrusso, also known as Yellow Polo Giarrusso because that's what I wear, and it helps people remember who I am. Today I'm going to share with you 3 of my favorite UFO sightings that I've had based upon their exterior beauty. I'm also going to get into cars for a moment as well. I have seen over 30 UFOs in my life. That does not include the OSOs, other strange occurrences, that I've also witnessed. When I watch UFO documentaries on television, usually they only cover people who've had, maybe 2 or 3 UFO sightings in their entire lives. It made me wonder, why am I not in a documentary? Something to note as a common theme in these UFO documentaries is the people that are being interviewed all claim that the UFO experiences have changed their lives in a profound way. This is probably why I'm not in any documentary, because even though I've had a lot more UFO sightings than they have had, for me, the UFO sightings were not really life-changing. It's like when you see a squirrel or a bird outside. You see it, it's really entertaining for the brief instance you see it, and then when they're gone, it doesn't really change your life. And that's how UFOs are to me as of September of 2022. The reason I am making this video, and the reason why I've made other videos similar to this, is because I want to motivate people to share their freedom of speech. And the UFO community is definitely being censored by people who want them to not share. So what they usually try to do is these evil people try to ridicule people who have had UFO sightings not to share. Now, here in the United States of America, that's an infringement on your free speech liberty, and to me, that's just simply not okay. Something I realized more than 5 years ago is that there's very, very few skeptics who will ridicule you, and their opinions don't matter. So that's why I'm taking action to motivate other people to make videos and take action and share their UFO experiences. Even though the UFOs I've seen have not changed my life in any way, at least that I recognize, the UFOs that I've seen, I think, are very beautiful. Literally flying pieces of artwork. Right? When you look at an artwork, you look at it and you think, oh wow, that's actually really beautiful. It's great to look at. You might even purchase that artwork, or you might go and visit a museum routinely to go and see a specific piece of artwork. But most people who look at artwork aren't really inspired by their artwork. They just like how it looks. And that's why I'm going to get into cars real quick and then get into my UFO sightings, because it builds up to that. So, what's the big difference between a standard car and a luxury car? Or a standard car and a sports car? Well, luxury cars and sports cars look the way they do to be drivable pieces of artwork. They're pretty much the exact same thing as any other car, but they're better looking. That's the real big difference. So a conservative person would probably just buy a standard car, unless if they really like artwork. The more liberal person would probably just always buy luxury and sports cars that aren't as practical just because they really love artwork. So you're going to see the Dodge Charger. This is a pretty basic standard car. A lot of people here in the United States of America own this car. It's a pretty simple looking car. 4 doors, get you from point A to point B, has a big trunk, pretty good for an average sized family. Then you have the Chrysler 300. This car looks a lot better than the Dodge Charger, but realistically, the Chrysler 300 is pretty much just a luxury muscle car. It is better looking aesthetically than a Dodge Charger. But in reality, underneath, they're pretty much the exact same vehicle. Another great example is the Ford Expedition. It looks very standard, doesn't look outrageously nice. But the same car that looks better than that is the Lincoln Navigator. There's no need for a Lincoln Navigator except that you want to drive a piece of artwork around. The most beautiful car, in my eyes, aesthetically from the exterior, is the 3rd generation Mazda Rx-7. As you just saw, this car has a lot of very smooth edges, a lot of roundness, and it's a very clean, but also a very exotic looking vehicle, all wrapped into one, and it has all these amazing style elements. And I love seeing them. Now, when I see a Mazda RX-7 or a Lincoln Navigator or a Chrysler 300, I'm like, wow, that's a really great thing to see. And that's how I feel when I see the UFOs. I'm like, wow, this is really exciting to look at. But when I see a car, or if I see an unidentified flying object, it doesn't change my life. But I really do enjoy the engineering and the beauty of these things. Both the cars and the UFOs. The most beautiful flying piece of artwork that I have ever seen is definitely this UFO that I saw in 2017. I saw this on November 7th. Okay. Don't know. And it would have flown across the sky like that. Okay. And what was so fascinating, so imagine that, but it's a 3-dimensional object. How long was it? A 6? It was probably about 6 feet long from the average, from the tip of the front all the way to the back. Okay. That would have been about 6 feet long. Okay. And it was flying just over the houses. Maybe about 25, 30 feet above the roofs of the houses, and the roofs of the houses are probably, what, like 25 feet high, maybe? Maybe a little less, maybe a little more. Which is actually a very interesting common theme, and why I do not believe that many of my UFOs that I've seen are human or extraterrestrial, and that they are, in fact, neither. But I've got to keep you speculating and anticipating for that information for another video. The reason I thought that this particular UFO was so beautiful was because of its metal decks that it had. And in between those metal decks, I thought it would probably be like either a plastic or maybe glass. And on the inside, it had like this red, orange, yellow, almost like wax, kind of like lava lamps. And I call it the stovepipe UFO because if you notice at the top, this thing up here looked like, you know, like a 18th century stovepipe or something. And it had that weird bent 90-degree angle going all the way to the back, almost as if it was like an exhaust or something. What's kind of funny is on my cell phone, I actually found an emoji of something that looks similar to that shape, and it turned out to be an incense burner. And that long thing would have been a handle. I just think that's really funny. And I've also seen, I don't remember if it was Amazon or Etsy or one of those other like websites where you can buy stuff. They had weights for human beings to get stronger, and I don't know if they're like weights that you put on the ground and do like push-ups on, or if you just use them as regular weights, but there were like some almost like dumbbells, but they're not dumbbells. They're like in the shape of like this UFO that I saw. I just thought that was kind of interesting because it was an emoji. But anyway, when I look at this UFO, and when I saw this UFO, and when I look at my image that I colored, and when I remember the UFO that I saw, it's just such an extravagant beauty of flying artwork that whoever engineered this thing, whether if it was human or not human, doesn't make a difference. I don't think it was human. But wherever it came from, whoever designed the exterior of this UFO is an artist. So cut here. I'm missing a paper. No, I'm not right here. And obviously the reason why I don't believe that this was made by a human, even though it definitely could be, when I saw it, it came kind of around like a corner, and then it started to have like turbulence, and it came going down really quickly, kind of bumpy like. That's kind of like how it was flying. And right over the house, right in front of my field of vision, this thing opened up a vortex that was flat on the bottom and kind of upwards a little bit. And the only thing that it could remind me of is that it was like black and wavy red and wavy purple. And you know what's interesting about that? When I was growing up, there was a anime show called Yu-Gi-Oh! That I used to play that card game all the time. In the anime, to get into the shadow realm, it would wave the same purple, red, and black. I thought that was really unusual. And this UFO flew into it and disappeared. So, probably not human, unless if it was some kind of advanced technology that allowed it to potentially either teleport or maybe time travel. Maybe this thing had no occupants flying it. Maybe it was artificial like a drone. We don't know. Maybe it's a toy, or maybe a scientific instrument of an extraterrestrial, interdimensional, demon, angel, other entity that we have not discovered yet. Who knows? Most beautiful UFO ever was that one. My second most beautiful UFO, from my opinion, in its exterior, was one, I don't remember, I didn't put the date down. And this one was kind of strange because I kind of saw, I wasn't sure if it was two UFOs or if it was just one. But I'll explain this in a minute. So it was kind of like in this shape. And if you see, I kind of have like the red and the blue iridescence. It was perfectly symmetrical. Okay. And it was see-through like a bubble. And it had that red and blue iridescence. But it was perfectly symmetrical. So bubbles can't do that, number one. And for how it flew and maintained that shape, it is impossible. Kind of like that. So the front was this part. It was kind of like flying like this. This is the back. It was kind of like flying like, see if you can get it like that, so you can kind of see it. So imagine that flying, and it flew right over me. I was down at the boardwalk, and there's a little bit of like very light drizzle, but it was like a little bit lighter than drizzle, but not really raining, but it was like really tiny droplets. You could hear the sounds of the wave crashing, you know, right over where the beach was. The smell of that salty air, just really awesome. And this UFO came from over the ocean, or at least that's where the area it appeared to me from was. It was probably maybe less than 3 feet wide, probably closer to maybe like 2.5 feet wide from like here to there. I can't, okay. You kind of get it. From the widest to widest, that's probably about 2.5 feet, maybe 3 feet. Not very big at all. Looked like a bubble. Did not have that oily residence like a bubble would, like soap would. But it did have the iridescence of the red and the blue. Okay. And it flew over me, maybe, I don't know. If I jumped, I probably wouldn't be able to touch it. With my hand up, I would not be able to do it, but, you know, maybe 12 to 18 feet above where I was standing on the boardwalk. And then it flew directly over the nearby condo. So you have the boardwalk, you have a road, you have a condo. And the condo had, I don't remember exactly how many floors. It was like maybe 4, 5, 6. I don't think more than 6. I think it was less than that. I really don't remember how many floors the condo had. I would guess anywhere between 3 and 5 floors. But, whatever. Moving on. I remember it was like a beige colored condo, but most condos are beige by the beach. So, right. If you met me in person, I could take you to exactly which condo it was. Because it was right near where the ice cream stand used to be. But it wasn't that exact location. It was just, meet me in person, I'll take you there. Great. All right, so this is the same UFO right here. I just cut that out. Anyway, here's the same UFO, and immediately this UFO was followed after I saw this go past the condo and I couldn't see it anymore. Two little orbs that looked like they had like white flashing lightning or electrical charges or static charges, almost like lightning, inside of like glass balls or plastic, see-through or whatever. They followed the exact same trajectory. And I was wondering, wow, okay, so are these, and these two balls were always together, like as if they were fixed or potentially magnetically attracted to each other, but repulsing enough that they didn't touch each other. But what's so weird is I wondered, maybe this was the back of the UFO, this was the front of the UFO, and everything else that I did not see in that UFO, this may have been a big giant UFO that was completely invisible to my eyes, unless if they were separate. So I don't know if they were attached or not. They could have been attached, but just I couldn't see it. But I did see those little orb things. Okay. And to me, that is beautiful, very artistic. Whatever entity created this is an artist. I've seen glass sculptures that are beautiful like that, but this thing is more beautiful than the glass sculptures display that I saw at an art museum. So, very impressive. I would actually classify many of the UFOs I've seen, not just my top 3, as fine art that just happens to fly by. It's really cool and amazing, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really change my life. Okay, now I made a really crappy sketch that does not give the UFO that I saw justice. This is my 3rd favorite UFO. Okay, you can see that this is not what my UFO really looked like. It's like the general shape and those little circular things. I'm going to explain that. So this is a UFO that I witnessed that was not symmetrical. I repeat, not symmetrical. To me, it looked most like almost like one of those Indian stone arrowheads where you have like the little scoops and you can tell where they were scooped out and chiseled, kind of like that. However, it was opaque, almost as if it was made out of frosted glass or ice. Maybe even some kind of chemical substance that would make it look like it was frosted glass or ice that is not frosted glass or ice. Think about that. This UFO, again, was not symmetrical. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to show, where these weird partial circles are. That's like the chipping or like the gouges and whatever this material was. In the middle, right here, going up and down, if this was the middle, going up and down, okay, vertically, in that general area, somewhere inside near the middle of it, it was flashing white and purple light, just like a police car would flash red and blue light on a light bar. Think about that. That was coming from inside this thing. Now, there are a few other details I didn't really mention, like I did a blood ritual before and was trying to win the lottery. and I still have that. Alright, so back then I was really desperate for money and I really wanted to change my life, and I really wanted to create my own kingdom, declare myself as king, you know, the whole kit and caboodle, but with a bit more of a plan than that, obviously. And I'm going to save that for another video, I think. I couldn't find the other two, but I had discovered that, yes, ghosts are real, there are spirits, you can communicate with the dead. Okay, so I had already known this at the time when I did this blood ritual. And I don't know what happened to the other two. Papers, obviously, this is failure on my part to stay organized. But I still have blood on it from when I did my ritual. And it was just official documents of grand prize winnings, what I would do, has my name in it, has exactly what I would do if I won certain amounts of the money prize. Now, I did that before I saw the UFO. Okay. I don't know where my other two went. And my other two had even more blood on them. So, this, look at this. I've kept this all these years since then. Oh, it's starting to break. Holy crap. What you are looking is actually a part of my scab. That's right, a scab from after the ritual. Okay. So, I didn't cut myself, I just had a nosebleed, if you were wondering. Okay. And then I did this ritual, I went for my walk, and then I scraped my leg right in the same place I saw this UFO. However, it was about a 15-minute walk to that location and about a 15-minute walk back, and then I washed out my wound when I got back home, and then I went back out for a walk to the same place where I scraped my leg. Okay? And this is why I kept this scab. Even though that might seem really disgusting to a lot of people, this is very important, because I would have never done it. I would have never kept the scab. That seems really stupid, unless if this didn't happen. So what happened is I'm at that location, I see this strange UFO. It's not symmetrical, looks like frosted glass or snow or who knows what. It's not symmetrical, it has those weird gash things in it. And it's flashing white and purple light from inside of it. Almost like a light bar right in the middle. Okay, then near the front, near the front of the UFO, okay, I'm looking at it, and all of a sudden, I don't know if it was because it could have been just my nerves. I was maybe having some kind of anxiety because I just done this blood ritual thing, and my area of my leg where it was all scraped up was like throbbing intensely with pain. And I wasn't sure if that was just because I was so nervous seeing what I saw, or if this UFO was doing something directly to my wound while I was looking at it. And I don't remember exactly how long I looked at it. I know that I think I've made a video or mentioned it somewhere for how long it's been. I don't remember exactly how long I looked at it now, but it was pretty interesting. Then all of a sudden, my scabbed up leg, it no longer hurt. There was no more pain. But I didn't have pain up until I saw a UFO, so keep that in mind. And then at the front of the UFO, it made the white light go to the front just like a car, as if it was headlights. And below, the UFO, it was like purple neon. And in this general area, there's a pond, so it's hovering maybe about a foot over a pond. It's maybe about 2.5 feet long. Very small UFO. I don't know what it is. And I can actually see the light in the water. I could see the reflection of the UFO in the water. And then it just very silently just went very slowly, steep angle, up and flew over the trees. So I never saw the craft appear. I never saw it disappear. It just flew over the trees, which makes me believe that this one is very unlikely to have been made by human beings. But that's a story. But to me, it was so beautiful that I love it. I mean, it's a great looking UFO. It had that very frosted look. I wouldn't say blue. It was more just mostly white and kind of like opaque through it. But it was a very beautiful UFO to me. Now, I am planning on sharing more amazing UFO encounters and cryptid encounters and strange dreams, which are different from the dreams that I've had predicting the future. Now, those are two different types of dreams. And I'm going to be, trying to share as much information of the paranormal that I've experienced in my life that most likely most people in the paranormal community have not experienced, and also skeptics will probably never experience, which also gets into another theory of mine, why some people see God and UFOs and have all these dreams and etc., and why some people on this planet never see anything paranormal because of the experiment complex. You have to have people that never experience the paranormal, who are always skeptical of things, because they're the control group. All right, I'm Anthony Giarrusso. Watch my videos, watch my older videos, and email me if you have ever had a paranormal experience or just want to say hello. Wouldn't that be nice? Some people actually do that. They just email me to say hello. wondersofAnthony@gmail.com. That's where you want to email me. wondersofAnthony@gmail.com. Have a wonderful day. This is 2022. Bye.